when does the fantasy start?
As you kind of get to the top of the stairs to go down into the, I'm gonna say dungeon because it's the cells. I suppose let's go with cells. I'm not gonna go with dungeon. Basement is probably.
Dungeon, probably more accurate. To be fair.
Yeah. The only reason why I don't want to call it dungeon is because I specifically said none of you would be going into a dungeon anytime soon in the very first episode.
It's not a traditional dungeon though, given that it's cages hung beneath a bridge. So I think we're all right.
In D&D. Yes, I agree with you there. This is the only dungeon you will be visiting. The only kind of dungeon you will be visiting. Anyway, so you head down to these cells, and you find yourself. There's a kind of long, thin, like walkway, I suppose, of stone with like pillars holding it. No, not stone. It's a long walkway of wood, like stairs down a wood, and there's a long walkway of wood. And either side of the walkway are like these cages, which is what you expected to find. The cages are kind of attached to the ceiling. As soon as you get down the stairs, you have to go through a door at the top to get down. And as soon as you get down the stairs, you are kind of out in the air, as it were. It's kind of like, as you say, it's hung underneath the bridge. The water of the river like rushes underneath you. It's relatively fast moving, and it heads north. This river. You could quite easily like jump over the edge here and get into the river if you wanted to, for instance. But there's kind of like a guardrail almost that in between each cell, and there's 8 cells here, and the one at the far end, typically, is the only one that appears to have anybody in it.
Is it guarded at all?
And there's no guard down here or anything. There's not even like a place for a guard to sit, because obviously it's like not really a risk as far as they're concerned.
Okay. Is there any sort of railing along the walkway in the middle there?
Yeah. So the length of the the kind of almost like this boardwalk, as it were, is kind of slick, and in between each like metal cage there is like a bar, like a metal bar that connects the two, which is obviously like what most people use as a railing. And you get the impression that's the reason why they fill it from the far end this way, because obviously you don't want to be using a cage as railing when there's somebody in it.
Okay. Grandall makes his way very carefully down the walkway, as we've established that he doesn't like heights.
Yeah, it's not a huge height. It's probably like a 40-foot drop into the water. But I know that's quite a lot, but that's not a lot compared to some of the stuff. Yeah.
It's also the extra factor of the incredibly fast rushing water that he'd be falling into.
And actually, as well, what's funny is where this river ends. Because it ends at the waterfall that you saw in your backstory. Which I know is a fucking long way away, but that's still probably in the back of your mind.
It's the wrong direction is obviously the main concern. Obviously. What I want to do... I take out one of my daggers, and I want to sort of polish it, as much as I can, just using my shirt or jerkin or whatever, and creep up to the occupied cell, and I want to sort of hold the dagger up and use it as a mirror to just see what I can make out that's in the cell without, giving myself away first.
So the cages are like literally like cages on all sides.
Okay, I got you.
So you can literally see him, and he can see you as soon as you walk down the stairs. He doesn't see you because he is like in a pile, kind of like slumped up. Like if you didn't know you were looking for a person, you would assume that the end was like a pile of rags, maybe. But because you're looking specifically for a person, you can kind of see the motion of breathing. But that's the only one that's got anything in it, other than kind of like the bench and stuff.
In that case, I do my best impression of someone who's meant to be there, and I approach and I say, "Afternoon," assuming it is actually afternoon. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's for effect.
It
Anyway.
is the afternoon, yeah. Kind of like starts awake and looks up, and you see this very he kind of looks up and you see this very kind of weaselly looking human, kind of like quite long, gangly kind of type, quite a long, thin face, and he smiles at you and says, "Afternoon."
My name is Cragmar Brownstone, and been sent down here by the constabulary just to check on the prisoners. You know, make sure they're all right. Are you doing okay? Have you got everything you need?
Well, something dry to wear wouldn't go amiss, but other than that, yes, I'm fine.
I'm afraid we've got a policy of not providing prisoners with dry clothes, since they're only going to get wet again very quickly. You know?
Yes.
I'm sorry, they're rubbish at this sort of thing. They didn't even tell me your name.
Utle.
Utle. And how are you spelling that?
Yutle.
That's fine. And what brings you to Bridgetown exactly?
Business.
I'm going to have to ask you to be a wee bit more specific than that.
I'm visiting old friends.
And they are?
The Macario family.
Sorry, this is a wee bit confusing. You see, you're visiting old friends here on business.
Yes, I work for them.
What kind of thing do you do for them?
This and that. I'm an odd job man, if you will.
Aha. And are you visiting the Macarios to get a new job or report on one that you've completed?
Oh, to report on one I've completed.
Ah, grand. And what was the nature of this particular job?
I was checking in on some other friends for them.
Friends in...
Port Alden.
So you're quite well travelled then?
Yes.
And, it's going to be a strange question, I'm sure, but what interest might a monk of the order have in you?
A monk of the order?
Aye, what would they have to do with you?
Nothing, I'm sure. I'm sure, like most upstanding members of the, world, we try to avoid getting in the way of the order or magic users.
Oh, absolutely. And if an order monk were to take an interest in you, why might that be?
Oh, I honestly couldn't say.
Any reason why an order monk might take an interest in the Macario family?
Again, I don't know. I was just checking in on their son for them.
Their son, Bailey.
No, Marcus, the one that lives in Port Alden.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. Can I... Definitely don't trust this guy. Can I make an insight check, please?
You absolutely can.
That is a 9, which is a success. Normal one.
You don't think he's being absolutely honest about most of the things he's saying. Like, there's like a grain of truth in all of it, but none of it's like absolutely accurate. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
If you have a weird suspicion that he's being like, he's choosing to warp the truth rather than outright lie.
Okay. In that case, I say to him, the fact of the matter is, I haven't been entirely honest with you. The simple fact is that Peter and Margot, they don't trust you anymore. They actually sent me here to just sort of see what you're up to and then inform you that your services will no longer be required. So, have fun above the cage above the rushing river, and I don't suppose I'll see you around. And I take a moment to sort of adjust my jerkin, like just a little pause before I go to leave.
He kind of laughs and says, "Well, Peter is so. Just because I want to, just because obviously I know that you said Margot. You said Margot because you don't know what Margot was said to Nyla and Gary.
I was actually
second
wondering
show?
that as I was saying it.
Yeah,
So
no, you don't. But so, just because that's quite important. So we'll just say I'll just say
the Macario family. Let's
Yeah,
say.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Well, I do wonder how the Macario family has managed to send this news, seeing as they've been dead for a fortnight.
Ah, so you do know some things.
Well, yes, there's a plague in the town. They tell the prisoners that, at least.
No, but that doesn't mean you know the Macarios are dead.
Well.
So
News travels even down here.
maybe we can help each other out.
So, I'm sorry, you act as if you're the person in power here, but you came down here masquerading as someone who works for the human town of Bridgeton, and you are a dwarf. I have been in Bridgeton before, and I have never seen a dwarf here in anybody's employ. So, what is it you're actually here to ask me?
Well,
He's kind of unfolded himself from his kind of lounging on the floor, and he's sat up, and he's almost crossed his legs, and he's got his hand on his face, on his chin, and he's kind of looking at you with these kind of really beady eyes, and he's really examining you.
the Macario house is currently inhabited by a magic user and an order monk. The order monk, who I followed here, seemed very, very intent, is maybe the word. They seem very concerned that you are in this cell, and I'd love to know why. I'm not suggesting that you know, I'm just...
I have friends all over the place. Maybe somebody got wind that I'm in here.
An order monk?
You never know. I have friends all over the city. It might just be the only person that they can get a message to.
You friends with the blacksmith?
The blacksmith?
The blacksmith in Bridgeton.
Oh, in Bridgeton? No, I don't know that I know him.
Well, that's a shame. I thought I'd get something more useful out of this. Never mind. Have a good day.
And you, Cragmar Brownstone.
If he's not going to try and stop me at all, then I exit.
No, he doesn't. He is kind of chuckling to himself as you walk away.
Yeah, no, I keep going.
Cool.
I assume I can sneak out of the guardhouse.
Give me another stealth.
Yep. That is a 12, which is just a success.
Yeah, you managed to get out there okay, and into the bridge.
I'd like to have a look and see if I can see what the kerfuffle is that's occupying the guards. See if I can see who's trying to get into town and what they're doing. That kind of thing.
Yeah, you can have a peek out of the door. There is a band of mercenaries who look like they are trying to force their way into the bridge. They're relatively well armed. Maybe about 10, 11 of them.
Do they look like a credible threat, or do they look just a bit sort of rubbish?
They look like they're a bit grimy. They look like they've been on the road for a bit, but you think that the guards are holding them off okay. They're not. None of them have broken rank yet.
Can I hear at all what any of them are saying?
It's just general battle commotion. Weapons-based kerfuffle, I believe, is the phrase.
Yes, of course.
Give me perception.
That is a 5, which is a great success.
You will notice that a lot of the a lot of the merchants that are camped on the riverbank look very invested in this fight.
Monetarily invested. Yeah.
Absolutely like that, yeah. Yeah, that's the problem with not telling people why they can't go in, I suppose. If they knew the severity of the disease that was in there, they probably wouldn't want to go in.
But the guards look like they've got it handled, yeah?
Yeah, they do, yeah. They don't look like they're going to get overrun any time. They're kind of they're doing a pretty good job of, it's a bottleneck. Obviously, there's only one door into the bridge, so they're doing a pretty good job of kind of just refreshing and kind of falling back to refresh, and then the next people kind of holding the way. And you think that eventually the mercenaries will just run out of steam.
Okay. So yeah, I'll turn around and head back to the house, I guess.
Cool. Nyla and Gary, what are you doing after you leave the shop?
I guess if there's nothing else you wanted to do, we'll go back to the house.
Yeah, I think that's where I was going to head to.
Cool. So you all get back to the house, and as you arrive back, you find. Excuse me. You all arrive back at the house, and as you arrive back, you find Elias and Catelyn having a spot of late lunch, which Theo has whipped up for them. He goes to get some extra when you arrive, as it's probably mid-afternoon now, and they have finished their research. So, Elias, apologies for you not having much to do in this first half of this.
That's all right.
You have now finished what you were doing.
Awesome.
And yeah, you think you've got an answer to the plague. Well, as it were.
It's one answer.
What kind of answer?
It's an answer.
Not happy.
It's the most humane answer.
Is it?
Well, they're going to die anyway. They're going to die horribly to a disease that has no cure.
Okay.
Gary will find a cure. Watch him.
Nyla will help him.
Yeah.
She's the research assistant to Gary the genius, who obviously knows everything about immunity and endocrinology.
Absolutely.
Everything.
But problem is, can't write.
Oh.
That's why I'm there. I write down your thoughts. I'm like your scribe.
Excellent. I'll walk into the room. I'll be like, all right, Elias, a fun day?
Yes, thanks, Gary. It's been quite enjoyable, actually.
We went on an adventure. Yeah, me and Nala had an adventure. I bought you a present.
Oh, awesome.
I handed him the green jeweled ring. I think it's elven.
Oh, thank you very much, Gary. Where did you find this?
It's an antique shop. Nice bloke. I've got you one as well, Bex. Nyla.
Who's Bex?
Nyla. Yeah, and
Oh, Gary.
I handed a little ring. I've got a necklace, look, eh? I think it looks pretty fetching.
It's awful. I mean, you have me describe it. It's
I'll find out. I think it looks...
To most humans, it's a bit OTT maybe.
It's very you, Gary.
Thanks. That's very nice of you to say. Did you find out any information about the virus user? I don't know what you were doing in your...
We were coming up with a way to ease the suffering of the afflicted.
Oh, that sounds nice. Yeah, that sounds nice. Yeah. Anyone seen Grandall?
No, I've been... no.
Grandall appears and he arrives back, literally at that moment.
All right, mate. Speak of the devil, eh? Cool. Got your present. Look. And a hand and dagger.
Gary!
I know. Wasn't too much. Don't worry about it.
I didn't get you anything. I feel bad.
Well, never mind.
That's fantastic, Gary. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Did you find out anything interesting?
Well, I mean, I did and I didn't.
I'm just gonna I'm gonna cough and just check that Theo's not around us.
You're in the dining room with Catelyn and Theo.
Yeah. I'm just gonna be oh yeah, maybe. I don't know what I'd say. I'm just gonna cough a bit.
Would you take me to this antique shop, Gary?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, you'd love it, Elias. It's full of loads
You would love
of
it.
stuff.
It's right up your alley, mate.
Cool. Would you like to come, Grandall?
Right up your alley.
That sounds like a fine idea.
I'm sure you wouldn't mind us just taking an hour's break, would you, Catelyn?
Catelyn's just Borgovs, no, go. It's absolutely fantastic. Although, I have to say, any of the magic stuff he gets in, I normally snap up for myself, so there might be thin pickings. Although I haven't been down in about maybe 6 months or so.
Interesting.
What, do you want to go right now, do you?
As good a time as any, Gary.
Sure, all right, yeah, fine. I do. And I'll
I put on the ring that Gary gave me, and I look at it proudly.
You die. No, I'm just...
Oh no, I'm dead. You killed me, Gary.
They're all the dark and dangerous magic shit.
All I want to say is, fuck you, Gary.
This, Nyla, this is actually...
My last breath, I curse Zoidberg.
This, Nyla, is a, it's, you look at it and you kind of, you see what it is. It is actually a promise ring.
Yeah.
Aww.
I got that feeling.
Typically given to a man by a woman. It's a promise that they will wait for them when they go to war.
Aww.
I do not tell Gary this.
He thought it looked pretty.
I mean, it is very pretty.
Very special. I really appreciate the sentiment, Gary.
Because of that, though, it doesn't fit on your little finger like it would normally be worn by an elven male. It actually fits onto your like your index finger or your middle finger, just because it's a little bit. Your hands are a little bit smaller.
I will wear it on my index finger.
And Elias, your ring is silver with a green stone in it, and it is kind of has the kind of vine work, holding the stone in place, and it fits on the index finger.
And doubles my max HP, you say?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, what does my ring mean that promise that I'll live through this campaign, Jack?
Only if Gary does.
Oh, no. It's a ring of permadeath.
It's a promise that you'll wait for Gary, so if you die, your spirit follows him endlessly for
Oh, nice. It's a Gary haunting ring. I'll take that.
You don't want to haunt Gary 24/7 because he gets up to some whack stuff.
When your back's turned, when the doors are closed, Gary nasty.
That's Gary's time.
Yay, the tables have turned. Mark is the nasty one.
So yeah, you can you leave the house and you head back towards
Cool.
town again.
Let's talk about the
this
things.
is actually a ruse
Yes.
to talk about things.
Yeah, that's basically what I was going to yeah. So I'm assuming Gary and I, as a unit, will update on the fact we're promised to each other now. So we are. We're a package deal, guys.
Can I just say that your ship name in my head is Guyler?
Guyler? Or
Nary.
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 I like Guyler better, that's good. Yeah, so we'll say that we went and spoke to the captain of the guard, that he told us about Thomas, and that Peter was, the Macarios were sending Thomas out to find stuff, and that he alluded to a place in the East Hills, which Borgov also alluded to in terms of Thomas. Also mentioning about how Catalin and Theo don't get on, and that Theo's weird and also very clumsy when he's in the shop, which I thought was very strange. As I have a feeling that he's breaking stuff on purpose, but that's just me.
Yeah.
And then mentioning about that maybe one of the kids is still alive and in the East Quarter, and also that Thomas's house is in the East Quarter as well. And that's basically what we found.
Would you mention the name
Oh,
of the
and also-
child?
Yeah, I'd say that so the kids were Bailey, who's the one who died first. There's Esther, who's the middle child, who's apparently still alive in the East Quarter. We didn't find out the name of the third child, but apparently Margot said that Esther was still alive, and Margot's the wife of Peter.
No, didn't say that.
Oh, he did say. Oh, he just said Margot.
Yeah, you just said Margot. You didn't actually ask who Margot or Stefan were. You just took the names and written down.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought
No, it's fine. I only know that because I marked off the ones that you knew and how much about you knew them.
Okay, but they mentioned the name Margot. But we can go ask him now because we're heading back.
Well, it's weird that you should mention Esther, because I had the weirdest dream last night, where I was told to actually find Esther.
That is interesting. I had weird dreams last night as well. It was really strange. I saw my brother. I saw the flower, and it was really weird.
Jack, you son of a bitch.
What?
Only just occurred to me that you've given me a goddamn dagger. Just like in my dream.
What's that?
I can't even remember what your dream
A
was.
dagger and a compass.
God
Oh
damn.
yeah.
Dagger and the compass and the elven woman who's always in my dreams. In all of my dreams.
How did you get me to buy that for him, Jack? Get out of my head, Jack.
That's because that's so weird. Because literally, you were like, "Oh, would you like a hammer?" I was like, "No, he's more into daggers." And then it was like, "Oh, there's a dagger. It's over here." Oh my god, that's so weird.
The funny thing is, I was so tempted that when you gave me the dagger, I was going to be like, "Oh, did they not have any hammers?"
You should have done.
I should have, but I didn't want to ruin the mood.
I'd have enjoyed that.
Oh, it was like a collaborative prophecy bringing together.
That was very
That's
good.
weird. So yeah, that's what we found out.
Yeah.
Well, I followed Theo around to various places. The main one he stopped at was the blacksmith. I wasn't able to see, who he talked to or what he bought or did while he was there, if anything. And then he went to the guard rooms, and it seemed like he was having a go at one of maybe the high-up guard. I didn't see who, but he was sort of ranting and raving and making vague threats about, locked up the wrong person, or, maybe you're dealing with you don't know what you're dealing with in terms of the people you're messing about, that kind of thing. I couldn't hear what the guard was saying in response, but he was fairly adamant about it. So I crept downstairs and tried to interrogate this prisoner. And honestly, it didn't go particularly well. I tried a bunch of different tactics to get him to slip up and reveal something, but he was fairly tight-lipped and a bit smug, to be honest.
What about you, Elias? Did you break this case wide open or what?
I high-five Gary.
I didn't find anything particularly useful, to be honest. I was quite busy working.
Fair enough.
Oh, shade.
Oh. Well, I feel bad now.
Well, I was going to at some point this afternoon go and talk to Kathleen about Theo. Initially, I was quite suspicious of her, but I think I actually do think she's...
The label switching
Yeah.
is weird, and the fact that he seems to be different to different people, or people act strange when you talk about him.
Yeah, he's shady.
He was very unfriendly to the guards.
I'll have a chat with her, and I seem to be winning her over slightly, so I'll see if I can get some information
Nice.
from her. I am genuinely interested in going to the antiques place, by the way. It wasn't just a ploy to...
You will get there without any issue. Obviously, you just walk to the antique place and you have this conversation whilst you're there.
Yeah. Before we get there, I'm going to be like, you'll never guess what, though, Elias. Our good friend here, Borgov, is an old acquaintance of Tackett's.
Isn't everyone?
Well, I don't know. I've never met the man, but
He gets
keeps
around that
coming
round.
up.
I mean, I don't know if everyone has met him. I wouldn't put it that way.
I never met
He
him.
says, yeah, me either. But he says, because I was asking about elven stuff, and he directed me to Tackett's. So that was weird.
The weird thing is, he's actually a bit of a dick.
Who, Tackett's?
Yeah.
Tackett's. I know we both said that. Who Tackett's?
I don't know him, so why is he a
He's
dick?
just not as friendly as he makes out.
But that's because you work closely with him. I imagine he's, and I'm sure most people would say that all of us are super lovely to meet us for
He's
5
a nice
minutes,
enough guy.
but-
He just puts on a very good front. He's a lot more prickly than he lets on.
Prickly.
That is very interesting.
But yeah, I just thought maybe if
You
you
hear laughter from the market.
if you want to chat to him, then maybe that's a way in. Just
Yeah.
And then we go to
You
the shop.
arrive.
I mean, there's nothing specific I
It's
want
closed.
from there, if I'm
It's
honest.
not
I
closed.
just,
I'm joking.
I would just quite like to actually have gone there. I think Elias would be interested in going.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
go. That's not a problem. You can go into the shop. There is the same description
Mm-hmm.
as before. Not much has changed, unsurprisingly. You kind of head inside to find whatever the fuck his name is.
Borgov. I'm really struggling with it. I keep having to
The way I
read it.
remembered is he works in a shop, and it sounds a bit like bug off. Buy one, get one free.
This is what I'm trying not to say. That's the
Borgos
problem.
bug off.
Yeah, Borgov. This is summer sale. So yeah, as we go in, I'll be like, "Oh, Borgov, this is Elias, and this is." And I'll go to introduce Grandall, but then I know that he changes his name a lot. Dagmar. Jack's getting bored of this voice.
It's just he's reading in his book, making notes, so he kind of is distracted.
As Grandall steps in, he sees the dwarven section, and he goes, "Oh, hammers!"
I knew it. I told you, Nyla.
I've never seen him use a hammer. He's always got
Always
daggers.
banging on about hammers.
I don't really listen.
I don't really listen.
I don't. There's too much going on in Nyla's world.
You just become engaged to Gary, for instance.
Yeah, we're promised to each other, and we're getting a flat together.
It's all
It's
working
moving
out.
very quickly.
I just want to have a look around, Jack. Yeah.
You can have a look around. Anything particular you're
No.
looking for?
It just would be somewhere that Elias would want to go and have a mooch.
Yeah, give me a perception roll. No, a detection roll.
That's a natural one.
You are drawn towards a section right in the kind of front corner, the opposite side to where the dwarven stuff is, almost in the other bay window. There is a table with kind of piled high with kind of weird looking amulets and jars of like stuff. Like they look like they're kind of the contents of it wouldn't have looked out of place in at one of like what the fuck was his name? Magic user from the windmill.
Malachi.
Malachi. It wouldn't have looked out of place in Malachi's like windmill laboratory type place, like like the pickled jars of like weird like herbs and like maybe like frogs and things, and just kind of behind that, like out of sight almost, you have to you're having a rummage because you just kind of you spot something that looks interesting, and you find a little cabinet, which is I say cabinet, it's almost like a little like kind of short set of shelves that has a set of books on it, and the books are just some tomes on biology and chemistry. They're kind of like the sort of textbooks that you used in your like in your learning with Tackets. There are 4 in total. One is about like the human body and like things you can do to relieve pain. One is about it's actually a copy of the book that Kathleen had that you were using earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Which is all about like chemicals and like reactions and things. One of them is a book of like it's like a bestiary, just of like animals and like the useful parts of them. And the final one is a big old leather-bound tome with a latch and it's locked. And there's no name on the front or spine.
Could be anything, John.
Could be a boat.
Could even be a book.
You were going to say it was going to be a boat.
I walk them over to the counter and place them on the counter. All 4
of them. Oh, where did you find those? And he kind of looks through his book and he's like, I didn't think I had any books in stock. Where was it?
No, it's in the cabinets over there.
Oh, in the front. Oh, that's a job lot that I got. Oh, I must have missed something in the inventory. He kind of looks at them and says, just give me, I don't know, a couple of gold for them.
Done. No.
Yeah, he's really bad. As someone who seems to know about antiques.
Thank
Sold.
you.
What about this locked one? Do you happen to have a key?
I didn't even know I had it, so...
I'm sure I can
No.
see a man about a dog regarding that.
I mean,
See,
a dog
dwarf.
might be able to chew it open, I suppose, but...
We getting a
sure
dog?
damage the book.
No, we've already got a cat.
Fair enough.
Cool.
Jack, I want to look around for anything sort of intricate, mechanical wise, anything like that.
The only kind of mechanism-y thing is one of the chests has a hammer lock on it.
How big is the chest?
It's like a what are they called? It's like is it a sleeper trunk? No, like the is that what they're
A
called?
travel trunk kind
It's
of
a
thing.
big. You could get in it. Yeah.
Is it a type of lock that I recognise?
No, it's literally
Hammerlock.
yours. Hammerlock.
Right, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's a hammerlock lock.
Yeah.
It has a stamp on it from on the outside. It looks like it was made in the last like 100 years or so. So it was probably a blood relative, like a close blood relative, like your dad or like cousin or uncle or something.
Damn.
Is it out of view of Borgov?
Yeah. He can barely see the people coming in the door. So yeah.
And I would like to try and open it.
Cool. You don't even need to roll for that. It's a hammerlock lock. You know how these work. It pops open. You manage to hold it so that it doesn't make the loud click you'd expect it to make, because you kind of know which bits are going to pop up, and you can open it without problem.
Awesome. Is it got anything inside?
Oh yeah, it is full of clothes.
Human clothes?
Nope, dwarven ones.
No, nothing else of interest at all?
There's like it's literally just full of clothes. They're all folded. This looks like it was actually someone's luggage that has made its way into this shop. Like it's actually clothing. Give me a detection check.
That is another 4, which is for perception detection normal. No, it's a great success.
Oh, in that case, you actually realise this is one of the ones that's got a false bottom in it.
Nice.
And you manage to pull the false bottom up and find 25 gold.
Woo.
In a small pouch with a dwarven crest on it, which I will figure out which family that is at some point. Actually, give me a second because I have it. I know which one it is. I want to just check my notes. It's the flint armor crest.
Cool.
And then there is also a book. It looks like a journal, which has a different crest on it.
Interesting.
And that has got the crag shield crest on it.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just making a note of these. Okay. Sorry, Jack. What was the crest on the book?
Crag shield.
Okay. Yeah, I'll pocket the book and the gold, obviously.
Cool.
Robbing an old man.
Absolutely.
The clothing is all female, by the way.
Cool. Yeah, so I take that stuff and I want to very quietly close the chest and relock it.
Yep, you can do that without problem.
I want to just have a look around sort of the outside, the bottom of it, see if there's any other hidden compartments.
Okay, give me detection again.
That's just a normal success for that one.
You don't see anything, no.
Okay, so sort of finish my circuit of the shop and as I approach the entrance go, right, nothing interesting for me, shall we go?
Yeah.
I want to just ask Borgoff while we're here. Borgoff, you mentioned someone called Margot told you Esther may still be alive. Who is Margot?
Oh, well, I mean, she didn't tell me. I heard that Margot had said that Esther was still alive. Margot was the nursemaid of Bailey. Actually, Thomas's mother, actually, as it happens.
Thomas's mother, Margot, was the nursemaid of Bailey.
Bailey's nursemaid, yes. That's how Thomas found out about the family, I believe. It was she said, she knew that Peter was looking for someone to do some work, and she thought, oh, well, my boy, he's got legs, he might as well.
Okay. And who's Stephen?
Stephen? Kitchen boy.
The kitchen boy. That's right. And what was Mrs. Macaria's name?
Alexis.
Sorry, I'm trying to fill in gaps. I'm really bad with, building trees in my head, you know?
Oh, yeah, no. You have Alexis, who's the mother, and Peter was the father. Bailey was the youngest child, very sickly. Esther, obviously the middle child, lovely girl. I really hope that she is still alive. She was definitely the best of the lot of them. And then Marcus, who was an absolute lad, let's say, who left for Port Alden about a year ago to be a merchant, apparently. He wanted to go and sail the seas and meet the elves and yawn.
Right. Thank you. You've been so helpful.
Grandall sort of walks over to Borgov and leans against the counter and he says, I was wondering actually while I'm here and you're an expert in antiquities and such like, would you mind having a look at this for me? And I produce the cameo with the face of the young man.
Oh. He goes, let me have a look at this. He kind of takes it off you and turns it over in his hands, and he has a look at it, and he gets one of those eye pieces out, and he clutches that. He takes his glasses off and clutches that in his eye and looks at it quite closely and says, I've never seen a cameo of a man before. It's very strange. You
don't know why it would exist, for instance?
No, I don't even know. I I mean, the cameos were generally used as a way of like portraiture, if you will, for loved ones. Before the folly, we actually have a couple of cameos in the pre-fall cabinet on the wall over there. It's almost always women though that are depicted in them. Young ladies. Well, it's obviously a silhouette, so we assume young ladies. And this is a stunning piece, though. How much would you like for it?
I'm afraid I'm not quite willing to part with it just yet. Not while the mystery remains unsolved, you know.
And he passes it back.
By all means, though, you know, if I manage to figure out what it is, I'll certainly swing back round and we can have this conversation again.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Nothing Conventional, Nothing Gained. Hope you're enjoying this one. I'm really enjoying Bridgeton. It's so much fun, the stuff they guys get up to. First things first, I want to say hope you all thought that Util was fun. That is the character whose name comes from our competition winner that I mentioned before. That's Util Utranis. You haven't found out his surname yet, but I'm telling you now because you will eventually in the future. So thanks, Jamie, for that brilliant name. Couldn't have asked for a better one, to be honest. So unusual, and hopefully the guys will manage to remember it when it comes up again in the future. So, as I said, it does come up again in the future. Listen out for it. So yeah, I hope you liked that, Jamie. Hope you're not too upset that he's in prison. Other than that, I don't really have any other updates. Fun fact for you all in terms of where we are in the recording cycle at the moment. We've actually just finished recording chapter 1. So the story arc we're going through at the moment has just come to an end for us in recording studios, as it were, our living rooms. So that's quite exciting. So we're all done. I've just got to edit it all out, and I'll be releasing them obviously on the weekly basis. The next episode is coming out on the 7th of August, so in a fortnight as usual, and will be the third part of the Bridgeton series, which is what I'm referring to these as. Yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy that one. Things take a turn. Some interesting stuff happens. I hope you're enjoying it. As always, reach out to us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what you think of the show, what you think of the characters, who your favourite characters are. Fan art. There's so many amazing opportunities and so many crazy scenes that we've had so far that we would love to see some fan art of those. That would be absolutely amazing. I'm sure at least one of you guys listening must be creative. Actually, in terms of the listeners, John tells me that people in California have started listening in a big way. So welcome. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're enjoying it so far. And I'm going to let you get back to the episode. Come find us on social media, #Nancast, and enjoy. I'll speak to you later. Bye. Young lady, before you go, and he kind of pulls out a letter that he's obviously written since you've been gone, and says, I was hoping you would pop back. Actually, I was going to head over to the Macario house this evening if you hadn't. You said you would potentially go and see Tackett. Would you give this to him for me as a letter? I haven't been able to send a hawk in a while. As you're going that way, it's a bit slower, but...
It would be my absolute pleasure.
Yeah,
thank you,
we might bump into him.
Good, I'm glad to hear it.
Do you know him well?
I've met him for tea a couple of times. I sold him some books on elven folklore, actually, that I picked up on the Autumn Isle.
Anything about Barathir? Says Nyla really loud. Like
Barathir. Actually, yes, there was a tome of Barathir novels, I believe. Well, I say a tome of. There were some examples of the Barathir mythos within one of the collected stories that I sold him.
Oh, good. And I smile at Elias.
Strange chap, isn't it, Barathir? One of the most interesting stories I actually ever read of Barathir was when I was on the Autumn Isle. Not one I'd heard before, but apparently he travelled there and had a parley with the at the time King of the Halflings. The thought that Halflings had a lineage of royalty is just absolutely ridiculous.
I can't say I've ever heard of that one.
Well, it's one of the half-elves' favourite, the halflings' favourite stories.
I'll have to see if I can find a copy.
Indeed.
But maybe if we're seeking out tackets, he will possibly let you rummage around the library.
Oh, that would be very, very fun.
Oh, I wouldn't get your hopes up. He doesn't let anyone in that library, I trust you.
I just smile at Elias again.
The jeweler's magnifying glass, by the way, is called a loupe. L-O-U-P-E. I mean, it's not a windmill part, but, you know.
It's something.
It's not a compass in the shop, is there, Jack? Although I don't really know about the compass, do I?
Give me
Yeah, I don't think I would have shared my dreams with anyone. At least not at this point.
Cool. So if you're done here, you can kind of head on.
Yep.
What wouldst thou like to do next?
Does anyone else have any thoughts on the things that either Gary and myself have found, or that I forgot your name for a second.
Rude.
Grandall. That Grandall found out. I mean, we need to go into the East Hills. That's as much as I know. But I don't know where that is because I'm not from round here.
Well, I know that we're talking about needing to find Esther. Is she in the East Hills? Is that what we've determined?
No, he's the East Quarter.
No, Esther is in the East Quarter. You assume she has just been. It's just been said that she is alive, and obviously, if she's alive, she would be in the East Quarter with the infected, because obviously the rest of her family died.
The Eastern Hills.
You can
is
you can put that together.
Yeah, is the like the old magic users
Gotcha.
tower, I think.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
This is there's a lab in the East Hills.
That's. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I thought you were talking about the Citadel.
No.
Also, I don't know where the East Hills are, so I'll ask anyone who's from round here to tell me how far away that is.
I reckon it's.
They are literally the hills that you can see from where you are. Like,
Oh.
there's quite a lot of them. It's a range. It's almost like a low mountain range. Like they're hill. They're not quite mountains, which is why they're named the East Hills. There is a dwarven like settlement under them. It's the only dwarven settlement that still is kind of like maintained by the dwarves, other than the Hollow Range, and it's primarily because there's a lot of gemstones under the East Hills. But it's the kind of the raised area between here and Port Alden, and it's kind of like you kind of go in almost a valley between Blind Eye Peak and the East Hills. That's where the plains that you're in at the moment are.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But it's not something Elias wouldn't know of a lab there, or
He can give me general lore if you would like.
a magic user who used to
I
live
kind
there.
of just assumed I wouldn't know every magic user alive, but
I know, but like you hear stories from your
So I got
mentors and
8.
stuff, and
which is a great success, just.
I mean, you don't know of any wizard towers that have been like founded in the East Hills, but obviously you don't necessarily know. If you knew a name of them, that might help, but obviously you can't think of anybody that you know of that is assigned there or anything.
You're talking about needing Esther to help us get out of town, right?
Well, I was told in my dream by, weirdly, Mistress Morgana, apparently, to find Esther, and she would lead us west up the river.
The problem is, as you have previously told me, is that we can't really get into the Eastern Quarter without serious danger to our own
Or
health,
without having killed everyone else first.
including Esther.
I mean, presumably.
So maybe we have to break that rule.
A wee bit.
Just a
I mean,
smidge.
I'd rather not catch the carrion plague, but
And if you think about the fact that Theo's been messing with Catelyn's experiments,
Yeah, that's a quite disturbing one. I mean, what? It's weird.
does it seem like she's creating something that, if it got into the wrong hands, it'd be dangerous? Or
not particularly, no, because it's the experiment she's trying to recreate are nothing more than kind of, well, the book I just purchased contains what she was experimenting on.
So it's reasonably common knowledge, at least in magic circles.
Yeah, it seems weirder that he's disrupting such simple experiments,
It's sabotage.
but I can't really see what his gain is.
Maybe he's trying to get Catelyn kicked out of the Order or whatever, or maybe he's trying to become a magic user and is stopping her in some way.
I mean, from my understanding, you can't really become a magic user. You either are one or you aren't.
But maybe he is one.
Have you gotten any vibes off him, Elias?
No, off her I did, but
Yeah, of course he would off
yeah,
her.
just
Okay.
initially I thought her experiments were going to be a little bit more out there, but
Aye. And if they were, it would make more sense that he would try and stop them. But
then we have uncovered a lot
Elias.
of disturbing rumors about the Order and what they're doing with magic users. So, I mean, this might be more widespread than just this isolated case.
Elias?
Yes.
Is it common that magic users and their Order monks don't get along?
I mean, they're not paired specifically because of their relationships or anything, but
But do they get along?
sometimes they can do. Tacket's Order monk is actually a very reasonable guy.
Because the lieutenant said that, they didn't get on, but he was very hesitant to really go into detail about it. So maybe they've just literally a personal falling out.
I mean, possibly he might just be a dick.
Yeah, also that is
I mean,
true.
we might be
he's-
reading
he's
too much
certainly
into it,
not what
but
we ex-
it's.
Yeah.
But then that coupled with what Grandall uncovered when he followed him, he's definitely up to something.
Actually, the lieutenant also said that he drinks in a pub called the Swan Neck. Maybe people there would know some more salacious things about him.
that sounds like an excellent lead.
Elias.
Yeah.
Let's go to the pub.
Order monks are, by their own rules, always sober.
Oh, really?
I cracked it open, I told you.
Wide open.
Wide
Open.
We'll have
I
a
should be a
drink and
cop.
see if we can find anything out. And if not, we've have a drink.
How about having a drink, Grandall?
Yes, how about that?
But
So-
shouldn't we wait until Theo sneaks out and goes to the pub, or we're just gonna hang out there and wait for him? I mean, Elias just has to get back and help Catelyn.
I think he'd probably be less likely to act suspiciously if I'm there.
I'm
Sorry,
quite willing to
at this
go
point,
straight to the tavern and sort of scout things out before anyone else goes there. I am more than happy to do that.
Oh, you're such a good man.
selfless.
Precisely.
Jack.
At this point, there is an explosion.
Oh.
Well, shit. From the direction of the house?
From the direction of from east. So you're obviously you're basically as far west in the town as you can be. So it comes from the east and is in the general direction of the east quarter and the house. Everything else is that way, but it was quite a long way away. It's quite a loud explosion.
It's either that or it's going to be the rich mercenaries coming at us.
I'm gonna
Instantly start running back to the house because Bear is there.
100%.
Grandall starts legging it, muttering about having a nice, quiet pint.
Yeah, you wanted a drink.
So you kind of run back to the house. It was the house where the explosion emanated. You kind of, because you're coming from the west, you come in through the back garden, essentially. Obviously, Nyla found the back gate when she was out for her walk with Bear, so you can come in through that way, and you arrive to find that, the back wall of the sunroom is completely missing. Most of the roof is caved in as well of the sunroom. And there is just debris just strewn across the ornamental garden.
Is there like a fire raging?
It's not a fire like raging, but it is kind of like there is fire. Like it's not like it's on. I don't want to get into descriptions of fire again, but there is a fire, but it's not like a blazing inferno. It's just like there are some bits of the house that
Bits
are
of
on
burning
fire
debris.
still.
I'm gonna.
And there is a huge cloud of smoke, just billowing. It's more smoky than it is flaming, if that makes sense.
It does.
Smoking.
As we come through the back gate and this sight appears before us, Grandall just shouts, "Bear," as loud as he can.
Sorry.
Okay.
I will
One of the other
whistle.
things you will hear as well is you hear a lot of men or people running on the street the other side, and they begin to appear in the garden at the same time as you. It's like kind of guardsmen. Bear doesn't appear immediately. So what else are you gonna do?
Are the guardsmen, like, as they rush in, are they carrying sort of buckets with water in them at all?
It looks like they've come to check what happened first. They're not prepared. They've arrived on the scene for the first time at the same time as you. You kind of both come into the garden at the same time from different directions.
How visible are we?
You are. You both come from different directions at the same time, and you're both quite obviously there.
Have they already seen us,
Like-
or
Yeah. So it's like they've seen you, but they don't suspect you because you're obviously also running. You've kind of run round from behind some topiary into kind of like the kind of much flatter, lower ornamental garden, so they can see you across it, and they kind of you see the lieutenant Nyla kind of leading it, and he kind of waves to you and begins to assess the situation and tries to see if he can pick his way into the wreckage, and you hear him shout, "Good God, somebody's in there!"
I will run over and just start moving rubble.
Cool. Once you get to it,
Jack, is
go on, sorry, Dan.
so I was just going to say, is there a sort of a gap big enough that I'd be able to get into the sort of greenhouse area?
Yeah. So yeah, you can get in there pretty easily because the whole back wall is almost completely blown out. The main issue is that the roof has also fallen in, so there's glass everywhere. And obviously there's bits of table is on fire, and there's the plants have kind of caught as well, and there's plant matter flying all over the place. And when you get up to it, you can see Kathleen is pinned against the wall, the far wall, under some rubble and a beam, and she looks like she's kind of breathing quite shallowly.
This looks like a job for Gary.
Do
Yeah,
I
over there.
reckon that it's a good idea to remove the kind of the rubble immediately, or should...
Give me apothecary.
That's a 9. Regular success.
Yeah, you think you need to get it. You need to get her out of there, but it needs to be done. It kind of brings you back to, actually, again, one of the first things that happened to you, and the boy under the cart. It's kind of a similar sort of situation. Her legs are completely pinned and probably crushed, so you need to get her out of there. But you're then going to need to very quickly, like, tourniquet her legs up. So
Well,
she
while
doesn't lose too much
Gary
blood.
is carefully removing the rubble, I will administer what I can in the way of some first aid.
Cool. Everybody who's going into the building needs to give me a con check.
Is there another entrance in? Like, is there another door rather than?
I mean,
the
yeah, there's the door that you would normally go into from the house, but you have to run around to the front to come in that way. You can get into it very easily. It's not like it's like rough terrain rather than like climbing over walls and stuff.
I want to do that.
I
I'm
rolled.
going to go around to the front.
I rolled a 2,
Cool.
by the way, Jack.
On your con,
Is it
okay.
con luck or just con?
No, you're right. Actually, it's a con luck check. Sorry.
Uh,
I have to beat my luck, right?
well, it's your luck plus
con
your
plus
con
luck.
modifier, and then under that.
So if you passed, then it's going to be fine because you'll still pass.
In that case, I didn't.
How?
Well, if you rolled a...
I rolled a 16. My luck plus my con is 12. So
Oh, okay. I thought it was your con score.
Not if it's a
plus-
luck, no.
Oh, apologies. That was me misunderstanding it. Apologies.
So does that mean we lose another luck?
Yeah.
If you pass, yes.
I don't have a lot left.
I passed.
Did you want me to roll as well, Jack? If I'm going the other way.
No, because you're running around the front, so you're not going to go into it straight away. As you're running around the front, though, you will kind of bump into Bear.
God, I'm just gonna hug him and just be like, "Oh my god!"
Because
And
he was
just
obviously running round from the back, from the
Yeah.
front to you, because you whistled. Because he was asleep upstairs.
yeah, I'm just gonna check him quickly. Check he's okay.
Yeah, he seems fine.
Okay.
So I'm
Go
gonna
hug
move.
him again.
I'm gonna move this rubble, Jack.
Yep, give me the strength check.
That, Jack, is a natural 1.
Natural 1.
Natural 1. I did have
Nice.
advantage, but yeah, 1 as well.
Don't matter.
So, who failed their con, sorry?
I did.
It's 5 damage.
Oh, that's a big smoky hit.
That's a mild poison effect, that is.
Oh man.
Oh, wait. you
well,
have
in that
advantage, it's
case-
poison, Grandall.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I forgot it was poison. Sorry, it popped into my head at the same time as you realised as well.
Jack.
So re-roll that. Yes.
I can't read
So it's advantage on the luck con
Yes.
save, yeah.
Yeah, you will, because it's against poison.
And that still fails.
Oh no. So that's still 5 damage, unfortunately. What was you going to ask?
I don't. I've got 7 luck left. Yeah.
You can choose not to make a luck
I know,
save.
but now it's meta because I knew what was going to happen, and it's only 5 damage. I've got HP coming out my ears, but I haven't got luck coming out my ears.
The trouble is, you know the effect now, because if it was
Well, this is
lose,
I mean, I'd still have to roll it again because you roll it. I roll it separately for each person, so it's some damage as you know what's going to happen.
Nah, we'll play by the rules. So I'll take it. This stuff magically disappears from the top of it then, with my natural 1.
Yeah,
It just
you lift it
absorbs
with relative
stone.
ease. Yeah, and she kind of gasps in pain as you lift this kind of beam from her, and you kind of manage to maneuver her out with the help of the guards and Elias. Elias, you're going to need to give me an apothecary check on.
Yes,
do
2.
it first, essentially. Yeah, so you can manage to get her that kind of tourniquet up and stuff. Her legs are completely ruined. Like, there's no way that they're going to ever be fixed, which is exactly the same thing you said last time, but obviously there's no magic boy this time, so, yeah.
Probably a good thing
she's
considering
lost.
how that ended up going.
She has lost the ability to walk. So, yeah. What are you all doing next? Bex, you can get round to the front of the building again now.
I was
And
only
you're
going
kind
in
of
to get Bear, so I'll come back to the greenhouse.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so if you're outside as well now, so you can all see what's going on, and
Can I see Theo anywhere?
No, he's not here.
Can I have a scout around for Theo then while the guys are lifting?
You can have a look. Yeah, give me detection.
Detection? That's a natural one.
He is not on the grounds.
Damn it! But at least I definitely.
You determine
know he's
that
not here.
definitively.
He's not here, guys. I see forever.
What do your elf eyes see? Everything.
So I turn to her while she's on the ground. I take it she's conscious?
Barely.
Is she able to talk at all?
Well, let's find out. What happened? What happened?
She will say, I was trying an experiment and I don't know what I did wrong. I didn't think this would be possible. Something this big. I don't know how.
I'll turn to Elias and give him...
She loses consciousness as she says that.
I mean, unless she managed to kind of skip ahead a number of chapters, then she definitely wasn't at this stage of her experiments.
Seems like it was tampered with again.
Yeah.
Right.
Is she going to be okay? I mean,
Right.
is she going to live?
I would think so.
Theo's not a murderer then, at least as far as we know.
Still attempted murder.
Grandall, give me detection.
That's a 5, which is great success.
It noticed something on the floor, in the corner of the room that you hadn't noticed before because there was like a table on top of it. It's actually a trapdoor.
Am I going to be noticed if I go and investigate it at all?
Everyone's kind of trying to get the fires under control and kind of, just now that the kind of the person has been looked after, a lot of the guards have kind of head back towards the bridge, unsurprisingly, because you know what's going on out the front of there. But the couple that have stayed behind are just mainly looking at kind of putting out fires and kind of straightening the place up a little bit, kind of making sure that it's not going to fall down or the rest of the building isn't going to be damaged in any way.
Okay, I want to scoot over there and I want to do traps and locks just to check it over.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's a success. Normal one.
So there is a trap on this, but it was a poison trap and has been triggered by something falling on it.
Okay. So, is it locked at all?
No, it's not locked. It was just trapped.
And I will open it and have a look.
Yeah, it kind of goes down. There's a ladder that goes down into what looks like a basement.
I gesture towards Elias.
Cool. Catelyn is stable, Elias, so obviously you don't think there's too much of a worry. You can probably tell somebody what to do to keep an eye on her if you wanted to go and check out with Grandall. One thing I will say, though, is looking around the lab, you will see that basically all of the work that you spent this morning doing is mostly lost.
Huh.
Okay. That sucks. Seems reason enough to blow up the house.
Yay, thanks, Nyla. It wasn't Nyla. She's just happy with the result.
Maybe it was Nyla.
Dun dun dun.
Protect me, fiance Gary.
I have a question. Have I ever seen Nyla and Theo in the same room at the same time?
Yes, several times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just checking.
But have you seen
not-
Nyla and Theo in the same room together, conspiring?
Neither is not Theo with a wig on and elf ears.
Yeah, the thing is, we've never noticed he has actually got round, fake ears to cover his elf ears. They're huge.
Like the BFG.
Yeah.
Put huge
Oh, dear.
fucking ears on. Oh my god, that's the worst cosplay ever.
So yeah, there's a trapdoor and a ladder that goes into what looks like a basement.
Well found, Grandall. Do you want to go first? Give it a go.
Would Bear be able to get down?
No.
Oh,
He doesn't do ladders, unfortunately.
no, I know. So I'm trying to think where to put him.
Can you not tell him to just...
I want to put him safe so that he doesn't get attacked. Because people see an unattended tiger, they get tended.
And as long as the fire's been dealt with, Bear can just go back to bed, can't he?
Yeah, that's true.
As soon as you start to suggest that, he walks off. Like he's like, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
besides
He's
that.
like,
I love
more
you.
napping.
I love you. Yeah.
Okay, so I start to head down the ladder. I just want to go down, sort of creeping, like as quietly as
Cool.
possible.
Yeah, you can make it the way down the ladder pretty easily. The basement is not lit. It's dark down here. Obviously, you can see okay with your dark vision. It is quite a large room. It looks like it's the same size as the house, like floor plan wise. So it's a massive, massive room. One half of it is completely covered in like wine racks. So it's like a wine cellar. But the other wall is shelving units, and most of the shelves have got books and papers. There's like, it looks like this is kind of like the back room of Borgov's, to be honest. Like there is just stuff. Like there are books, there are papers, there are like little statues, there are like weapons, there's like amulets and jewelry and like lab equipment. There's literally all sorts.
Grandall starts drooling.
Is the floor like? Does it look like it's been recently swept, or are there like footsteps in the dust or anything?
It looks like it's relatively well kept. Probably no one's been down here for a few weeks. Maybe there's like a very thin layer of dust on the floor.
Okay, so this is like the Macario's sort of wine cellar / storage room kind of thing.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's been accessed since in the last maybe month.
So Grandall sort of, whilst taking in the sight of all this stuff piled around, he just sort of absent-mindedly wanders over to the wine rack and just grabs a bottle.
Cool.
Just doesn't even look at it, just picks it up, pops it in his bag without paying much attention to it.
Cool.
And can I do a perception check just to see if I can hear anything?
You can.
Okay. So it's another 15, just a normal success.
Cool. Yeah. It sounds pretty quiet down here, to be honest. The only sounds of the people are kind of the kerfuffle of going on above, and the sounds of your companions coming down the stairs, or the stairs, the ladder. If I assume they are doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know Grandall's down there with treasure.
I know, this is
Yeah,
dangerous.
very long.
There is a torch and sconces for torches down the length of it, so you can light a torch as soon as you get down there. That is like kind of waiting to be lit, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I imagine it kind of like I'd have shouted down like, "You're right down there, Grandall," and when he didn't,
Hey, come on down.
Gary Ness, come on down. Sorry, I'm going to stop doing that.
Cool.
What sort of
So
stuff?
yeah, you can have a look at the stuff.
What sort of stuff's down
you
here,
all-
Jack? Tell me all about it.
You all get down here pretty easily. Everybody make me Deception. I keep saying deception. Detection roll.
Oh, there's nothing down here. It's fine.
I got a 7, which is a great success.
I got a 5, which is a great success.
You think you're better than me?
I got a 13, which is just a success.
I got a natural 20.
Gary's eyes fall out.
Gary just stares at the torch and is like, ah.
Aye, eyes.
It's stay close to the candles. The staircase can be treacherous.
Cool. So you find a couple of little chests of coins.
Nice.
There is probably not a huge amount of money down here, to be honest. There is like 30 silver in total across a couple of little chests. But the coins are not like normal coins. There are 30 silver pieces in 2 separate chests, 10 in one, 20 in the other, and they're different from each other, and they are not like normal coins that you use currently. They've got a strange, like they're like been minted. They look old, maybe, or just not from round here, maybe. Like you're not sure. Like you could probably use them to buy stuff, but they're not like official currency. If that makes sense.
So, mixed origin silver coins.
Give me a general law.
That's 2, which is a great success.
You have seen the one with 10 in it. They look like very old, like really old dwarven money that you stopped using like ages ago, like
Okay.
before you were born. Like before your mum was born, they stopped using these coins. Lias, you
I
did you
got
get a pass?
regular success.
I got a great
Cool.
success.
So, Nyla, you will find a set of the thing that draws your eye, and actually, Grandall, you'll see this as well. Both of you that's just a general note that you kind of find those, but the thing that specifically you find that seems like the most interesting, excuse me, it looks like it's like the least dusty thing, is on one of the tables, and it's some lab equipment. It's some lab equipment. There are like some vials, one of which is broken, and there is 2 books and a staff, which is carved in the likeness of an asp.
Of a what, sorry?
Asp. Snake. ASP.
Ooh.
ASP? I don't know how to spell asp.
Like
Yeah.
Mr. Dad Asp.
I'd like to say yoink. Yoink. And I take them.
What is that you're taking?
The books and the stuff.
Cool. That's what I was just asking. I
Yeah.
was just.
Did you say
keeping
all
track
the
of who's
vials
got
were
what.
broken? Are there any other?
One of the vials is broken.
What's the other one?
So there's 3 vials in one of
Oh.
those like test tube racks.
Okay.
One is broken, and the other 2 have got like a fluid in them, like a kind of like it looks like water is in it, but like not very much. It's like a like tiny little bit right at the bottom of the tube.
Okay. I will hand them to Elias because he knows more about this stuff than I do. Or I'll point them out to him.
Elias, these are kind of these are obviously you obviously belonged to a magic user. Like nobody else really does this kind of work other than maybe like an what's the word? My brain.
Alchemist?
You know the guys that do. Yeah, no. What's the other class?
Oh,
Alchemist?
no,
Artificer?
Oh,
Artificer. Yeah, so it's only really magic users and artificers that do like experiments like this generally. So you think this probably is belonging to some sort of magic user, you expect. The script on the bottles do have labels on them. The vials do have labels on them. The script is quite a cramped, kind of cursive, spidery handwriting. And one of them says, they basically just say sample and then alpha, beta, and then there's the broken vial says gamma on it.
Are they in the same handwriting from Catlin's work?
No, not even remotely. Are you looking in the books at all?
Yeah.
100%.
So it is the same writing as in the books. One of the books is very obviously a spell book.
Ooh.
And the other is a journal, like a research journal.
I'm gonna become a magic user.
Given a cursor, they're written in common. It doesn't. You can have a quick look at them, and they appear to belong to somebody called Gel Dvac.
Can you spell that? Because it looks like I've just written Geldovac.
Yeah, so GEL,
Oh, it is. Okay.
and then DU''VAK.
This is why I have to ask, because I spelled it completely differently.
Elias, give me another general law.
17, which is only just a success.
So it rings a bell. You think that Geldovac was a magic user, but you can't place like what his specialty was or anything. I don't know how long you're going to spend looking
Not
at the
long.
books. You can give me detection if you wanted to look for anything specific in it.
Well, we can take them, can't we?
But obviously,
I look around.
yeah, you can. Yeah. I just didn't know whether you were like looking for anything specific or what you were doing. If you want to look around the rest of the room, that was kind of the thing that drew everybody's eye because it looked like the newest thing. The shelves are full of like trinkets and oddities, and everyone can make a D100 for me.
Ooh. I like this.
31.
10.
30.
You're not going to believe this. 69.
Nice.
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 We all say nice, but we don't know why.
That's the sex number.
So, who got 10?
Me.
So you find a varnished case containing a string of rather old-looking garlic, 2 wooden stakes, and a silver cross.
Oh no. Vampire kit.
What were the other ones?
31.
Sorry? 30 and 31.
Yeah.
Gone too far. I can't read. Oh wow, who got the 30? Sorry,
Grandall.
Grandall. You find something you did not think you would ever see ever again, unless you were in the Hollow Range. And it is a tiny gilded cage with a moth inside.
God damn
A
it.
living moth. It has a little dropper with nectar in it. This moth is... I will find the name of it for you at some point in a minute. But the moth, essentially, it's used by dwarven miners.
It's like a canary in the coal mine
you release
situation.
You release the moth and it will fly unerringly to the surface, the shortest route.
Ah, that's cool.
If you feed it the nectar, it will happily go into the cage. So it's kind of like a go away and come back again type thing. The nectar is to kind of bring it back into the cage again.
Nifty.
31. That was you, Elias, I think. You find a copper ring with a shield motif, which is been polished to like a mirror shine.
Swimming in rings now, aren't you?
It's got rings for days.
Don't get into a fight with Elias.
What did I get for 69, Jack?
So you find a ring case with no ring inside,
Aw.
but it rattles.
Probably something that Elias could make use of.
Or you can propose properly to me.
So it's empty, but when you shake it, it does rattle.
Oh. I'd take the lining out, I guess.
Oh, good job. So yeah, you find an obsidian coin
Ooh.
with a three-eyed raven depicted on it.
You have a vision of a
Oh.
kid in a wheelchair.
And loads of creepy looking, like, thin people.
No, Elias, I've got a really creepy black coin. Look. How cool is that?
That's pretty cool, Gary.
Yeah, I like that. I'll put that in my pocket. Chuck the ring box on the floor.
Is there any relevance of the three-eyed raven, Jack?
Give me a... what are the laws again? Arcane...
Animal,
Arcane,
divine,
general,
Nature.
nature, or wilderness. It should be.
Yeah.
Give me general law.
4.
The three-eyed raven is one of the Scorn bloodlines that you've read about. One of the ones that was wiped out by Malachi.
Cool. I will relay that to Gary.
Ooh. Scorn keep popping up, don't they? A lot of Scorn stuff today.
Elias, you get a tingle from that staff as well.
My stuff.
Yeah.
My stuff.
your
Mine. I
your
found
staff and your spellbooks.
it. I'm magic elf.
I'm a magic user now.
God damn it.
My precious.
I'll let it if he asks. I'll let him look at it.
Well, I mean,
But it's mine.
we should probably not do that down here.
No, true.
It's true. That is true.
So, give me intelligence, Elias. Unless you can make this assumption yourself. I'm going to let you talk for a bit, and then if I feel like you need it, I'll get you to make an intelligence roll.
That staff there, Nyla, seems to be quite possibly magical,
Cool. It sort of goes with the spell book,
doesn't it?
I guess.
You found yourself a new profession, apparently.
Yeah, I feel like maybe I could do what you do. It doesn't seem that hard.
Oh, it's pretty easy. You just kind of act a little bit high and mighty and kind of,
I think that's the hardest thing about this. I don't think I could do that. I don't have the gravitas.
So describe the staff to me again, Jack, because I didn't actually.
It's an asp.
Oh, that's
It
the
is
asp.
a
sorry.
snakewood staff carved in the likeness of an asp.
Yeah.
Dead asp.
It's did I say it was snakewood? It is snakewood. If I
Oh, he
say that
didn't,
already.
but that's cool.
Dead asp, though.
Snakewood. Jack, can I have a look
Yes.
at the journal at the end of it
You can.
and see one what the last thing was written was, and also if this mentions anything about the east tower, the eastern whatever it was, hills.
So
How?
give me detection.
Oh, why you gotta be making me roll stuff?
Well, because you're kind of looking quickly. You're not like sitting down and reading it properly, are you?
That's a 15, which is just a success.
So you find the end of the journal is just kind of like, it's not like, trailing off or anything. It's just like a talking about today's experiments and stuff, which you don't really understand, to be honest.
No.
But there is a mention of the East Hills. There's a mention of a town in the East Hills, which is where the writer Geldervac says that he is working. And it says that he is making great strides, he feels, in finally curing the carrion plague. And that's within like the last 5 or 6 entries.
Does it mention what the name of the town is?
Yes, it is. It's Bleakbourne is the town that he was, or the village that he was working in.
Perfect.
And you said the diary said he had carrion plague.
Said he thought he was close to curing it.
I think we should get out of here.
I want to take more stuff.
I know, but like, we can always come
This
back.
room filling with smoke.
And the place is on fire.
Yeah, true. Okay.
Yeah, you can get out of the. Obviously, you get out of the thing, and you find that most of the guardsmen have kind of gone. There's only really one or two left, and they've gotten the fires under control. And one of them is kind of just sat, keeping an eye on Catelyn, and says that he'll probably stay here with her. He's got a bit of knowledge of like kind of first aid from his time where he's been. You know, he's an older guy. He's been around for a bit, so he's got a relatively basic knowledge of kind of field first aid. From the fights he's been in, so he can keep an eye on her. Yeah, you kind of, so that means you're kind of free to go and do what you want.
Can I ask him if he's seen Theo anywhere?
He says he hasn't haven't seen him. He hasn't been back here since we've been here.
We need to find him. To the pub?
Finally!
I reckon I could do with a drink.
So you're heading to the Swan Neck.
I can't really leave Bear here now. It's not safe. I can't really take Tiger into a pub again.
So, what? What are we actually trying to achieve now?
Well, we need to find out if Theo's responsible for this explosion. I'm going to say yes.
I mean, it's possible he was just, stationed here to sort of keep an eye on the house and maybe find out whatever was known by the person working for the family in the cellar.
It doesn't seem like they knew about the cellar. Or if they did, they hadn't been down there, right?
It seems to me like he's trying to kind of stop the curing or the remedying of the plague. I'm kind of...
Or maybe he's just trying to stop the death of all the people that you're going to kill.
Yeah, but they're going to die anyway.
Not if this book is true, says Nyla, throwing it in Elias's face.
Oof, that's a hardback as well.
My face!
Smack. I smack him with no, I don't. I mean, like, this is like the tower in the East Hills. It's this person.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, and that is an interesting lead, and I would...
Sorry, just for my notes, I know I don't want to jump in. Did you take those
Yes.
vials with you?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Just I need to make a note of that. That's fine.
I mean, this could be the cure,
Oh,
right?
yeah, 100%. I'm not disputing that at all, and that's definitely something that should be looked into.
In a moment of lucidity and intelligence that baffles all of you, including Gary, maybe that is the virus.
Oh, shit.
We did see that the sickly child in the house, where this person was working on the disease, possibly was friendly with the child, who happened to be the first person to catch this very rare, strange virus, despite being
Makes
rich,
a lot
as
of
we
sense.
discussed.
God damn it, Gary.
Gary faints.
He gets a really bad
He just
nosebleed,
starts-
like 11.
He just starts convulsing on the floor.
Real life Mark has snuck into Gary's brain.
At this point, you hear thunder, relatively distant thunder, and you see on the horizon a storm is kind of brewing. It's way out to the east, but you obviously you hear the thunder from a really long way away. But that's just a background thing that happens. A storm is brewing in the east, and you can hear the thunder.
Worse ominous.
Yeah, I think we need to find, we need to find somewhere safe for us to stay and also stash Bear. and 2, we need to find Theo, and 3, we need to possibly find this magic user's tower, and 4, we need to cure everyone of the plague, and 5, we need to find Esther, and 6, I really need a nap. So, all these things are on the agenda, it would seem.
I think we need to
So, pub?
find Theo, find Esther, get out of the city, and then go to this tower.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let's try and find Theo then. To the pub!
So the Swan Neck is a relatively run-down establishment. It is stood on the main street, and yet doesn't seem like it gets that much kind of custom. It is actually part of the buildings that are making up the barricade, if you will, between the west and east sides of town, and is kind of like is being used currently as the way that you're going to get into the east if you need to go into the east, for like whatever reason, like if you've been like marked as having the plague, or you need to go and like deliver food or something to people. This is kind of where they're doing that, because there's an entrance into the tavern from both the main road and the back, so it's kind of the building they're using as kind of a thoroughfare. I say thoroughfare, it's not really being used that much. It is something that is still being used as a pub, but obviously that's something to be aware of when you're in there, is that it is kind of the closest point to the East Quarter you can get to without actually going into it. The tavern owner and kind of the guy behind the bar are one and the same person, a cheery fellow named Rupert, who has kind of clearly his tavern has seen better days, and he's happy for any company. Did you bring Bear, Nyla?
I was going to ask before we left, do you reckon it's safe to leave him at the house? Like, was it secure enough, or was it going to be still not on fire, right?
I mean, it's not on fire, no. Obviously, there's no lock on the back door anymore, because the outer door has actually been destroyed.
No one's going to steal a tiger.
No, I mean, the house itself is physically, like, structurally sound.
Okay, I will leave Bear there then.
Cool, that's fine then. So the innkeeper greets you and says, have a seat. And he kind of, if you can find one, and like laughs because you're the only people in the place, and offers to bring you some drinks over to get you started. And I think, you can sit down and begin to discuss kind of the next steps.